Wow, that was gonna go last. How are we doing today?
Great.
Good.
Okay, so I'm going to be reading from my book which just came out like 2 weeks ago. So yay! It's called Araluebo, and it's actually a Yoruba phrase which means Araluebo, which loosely translates to someone not from here, right? And it's something people say at home playfully, but because I'm a poet, I decided to make it more serious than it has to be. And I just thought about the fact that when you are from Nigeria and then you travel maybe just for a couple months and then you go back, you are called this term, which is supposed to be playful, but in a way it makes it sound, it kind of reminds you that in a way you've been severed from home, right? Even if temporarily. And that is something, I've been in this country for 5 years, and that's something I'm always thinking about, the fact that, yes, I am Nigerian, my family is there, I'll always be Nigerian, but at the same time, the fact that I left the country means, in a way, I've also been severed from Nigerianness. So I decided to write this book, and because I wanted to do something experimental, I wrote it from the perspective of 5 characters who are not me. Each poem is based on an experience I had, but each poem also takes on the specific experiences of the characters I've created. So each section has a particular character with a backstory and everything. So I'm just gonna start. I don't want to bore you with the details, so let's just go right into it. Okay, so the first poem is called Alien Monologue, Questions for James Baldwin. Oh, very quickly, the context is, I don't know if people know, James Baldwin at some point left America because of a bunch of issues, including racism, and moved to Paris. And I'd always, because he moved at the same age that I did to the US, I'd always thought, I have a connection with James Baldwin because we both left our home country. So this is called Alien Monologue number 1, Questions for James Baldwin. Dear father, dear brother, dear lover, does it matter why you left, or would you have disappeared anyway? When you dared to outgrow your body's tragic fate, when you built a new shrine for yourself far from the land that birthed and bruised you, did it feel like betrayal? Had the God in you longed for a new kind of worship? When I tell my birth father I am dreaming of home again, he scoffs and schools me in our shared death. Reminds me how the British commanded water to become death space. How they broke a civilization into halves that would never meet again. How they built castles out of my ancestors' bones. How they wrapped their fingers around the borders of a not country and named it Nigeria. My birth father says home is something we invented to avoid the void's death stare, to outlive nature's ghosts. Were you trying to outlive the ghost? Were you aiming for black magic? Did you find new life in the warm body of a Parisian summer boy? Did your tongue carry the taste of familiar in the mouths of foreign men? Or were you always going to be foreign to everything you loved? Thank you. So that's the first poem. The next one, let's go. Okay, so this was partly inspired by my experience when I used to live in the Deep South. I'm not going to say exactly where. It's called Nomenclature, and when I first moved to the US, when I tell my friends this, they find it very interesting that my first experience of America was the Deep South. And as someone with a name, my full name is KÁNYIN Olorunnisola, and I used to go by that, which is a very beautiful name in Nigeria, by the way. It is a beautiful name anywhere, but when I moved to the Deep South, I kind of had a very different relationship with it because people were like they couldn't pronounce it, and it was just a very nasty experience that for some reason I decided to immortalize in poetry. So this is called Nomenclature. The boy laughs and says your name sounds like a nightmare. You chuckle because you don't know what else to do. The old woman says, you are so well spoken, not like the rest of them. You say, thank you, I guess, because you don't know what else to do. On FaceTime, your best friend curses you out. Says you need to grow some fucking balls and stand up to these white people, but you do not have his fire. You are constantly reminded that you're a seed that fell by the wayside, saved only by the American empire of rain and miracle harvest. You walk around thankful for existing. You walk around sorry for existing. When the man says you have an accent, you almost wish you could wash it out of your mouth. On the phone, your grandfather asks you something in Yoruba. You pretend he's breaking up. You are too ashamed to admit that you're forgetting the words in the only language not handed to you by the colonizers. You dread going back home. because you are afraid you are not the same child raised by your mother's brown roof city. You do not know what war awaits you on your father's shores, so you lie with the devil you know. You become America's little black beast. Let yourself be the footnote in your own story. At the bank, when the cashier asks for your name, you smile and start with an apology. Thank you for that reaction. So the next poem is called Letter to Mother. And that doesn't really need much of an explanation. Let's just go right into it. Letter to Mother. Dear Mother, first update of the month. Raul says to thank you for the turmeric soap. I'm happy to report his skin is finally spot-free. Since you left home, every winter has made me sick. I tried Buddhism for a week. It's nothing like the beat poets say. An American man made fun of my name today. Yes, I smiled again. I saw Auntie's face in the choir again. I think I'm picking up Raul's Spanish accent. I've concluded that romance is the most practical cure for existential dread. Everything else is intrigue. I'm thinking of coming back home. New York feels like Lagos every day. I still think Fela was talking about me in that song. I told a stranger my birth story. He thinks you and Dad made it up. In poetry class last week, we talked about idea and execution, and my mind went to Stephen Clark, a boy you have always said looked terrifyingly like me. I thought about him, death sentenced in his grandmother's house. When a white man calls my name, it sometimes sounds like a death sentence. I know why you went back home. I've been showing all my dates, my pictures of my dad's headstone. All my dates are first dates. I recently learned that before the shooting, Stephen Clark had been thinking about ending things. My best friend says she's thinking of ending things. I'm thinking of ending things. With America, not life. Though on some days, I can't tell the difference. So just a few more poems. So the next is, let's see, what are you? I'm just as surprised as you guys are. I have the numbers written down. Oh, wait, okay, I like this one. So this is called Ara Luebo Sestina. This was my first attempt at writing a sestina, and it turned out really, really good. So I was like, yeah, let's put this in a book. Ara Luebo Sestina. The smooth jazz is not enough. The blues would not do. You are struggling to find the beauty in this fashionable exile of your own making. You granted that little furnace of desire its dying wish, and now your mountain is on fire. You burn in more languages than your fathers ever could name, and disappear into cities marked with the enemy's blood. Cinnamon legs, you walk into your lover's nights, and the blood on the latex is the only testament to the unkindness you do to each other in the name of love, in the fear of becoming nameless faces on evening news. When you sing of this exile, you sing of a starving body seeking permission to bruise and burn and bleed in desperation, for it longs to remember what true desire felt like before it grew thick with the fog of foreign. The desire that makes the feet float, that makes the mouth beg for his blood to wash over you in the midnight vigil. You laugh and head due south of his borders, a traveler making most of exile in lieu of a place to call home, in lieu of a name that is the name and not just a compromise for self-preservation. What is the name anyway, but history and heritage and dignity and destiny? Your streetcar of desire takes you to New Orleans, that electric city where Africans in exile made Congo Square their shrine and sang the spirituals, where they evoked the blood of their ancestors home, aboard and abroad, found something to do with all their love and heartbreak. You should have seen them burn. You should have seen them burn along with the drums, the stomping and the slapping, burning as art, as a way of life, burning as worship. They came to name it jazz, that flame song. Jazz as in juju, juju as in magic, magic as in do fall at mass. The Holy Ghost claiming all mortal subjects who desire the divine possession. You crave possession, for your eventual blood to be on someone else's hands other than yours. Does a body in exile still dance if it cannot find music outside of itself? Or does exile offer it a different tune to dance to? Does the light still burn bright and brown in the eyes of in his eyes when he finds beauty in foreign blood. You call someone foreign home. You let him rechristian you. What's in a name but love and safety? Isn't that it? Isn't that what you so terribly desire in these days of darkness when the jazz and the blues just would not do? Finally, you accept your exile and answer to the forbidden name. You give it all up. You let your histories burn on the altar of his desire, your blood curdling as he holds your fate in his hands, for the offering is due. Thank you. Just 2 more poems and we're done. Okay, so this next is called Someday I'll Love Me. And I don't want to go into what actually inspired it, but within the context of the book, it's, like I said, a different character. So let's pretend this has nothing to do with me. Within the context of the book, it's about this Nigerian American guy who breaks up with his white partner, or is about to break up with his white partner because he realizes, there's a lot going on, not just structurally or institutionally, but where they stand politically. So he decides like, it's time to end things. And it's a poem about realizing that you can be self-reliant if you decide to put your mind to it. So it's called Someday I'll Love Me, and it's inspired by Frank O'Hara and Ocean Vuong and Chen Chen. So a whole village. Someday I'll love me. I think I'll be alone for a while. I'll sit with the tragedy of my life for once. You can only run so far before the road winds back around to haunt you. I cannot spend every waking moment in someone else's dream, though your eyes argue otherwise. I cannot make shelter out of you, though your hands are large enough. Goodbye to mornings of French omelettes, Dolly Parton on the gold ring, and the waft of your cologne as you pull me closer. Goodbye to you kissing me where my father bruised his knuckles. Goodbye to mistaking kindness for divinity. Call it a crisis of faith. Call it the God in the story finally learning that he is divinity. Someday I'll love me to the moon and never to return. Find me a sweet spot where beautiful men do not live. Touch myself without crying. Look at my body without wishing it was someone else's to claim. Someday, I'll build me a house out of this wreckage of a body. I will put beautiful things in it. My grandmother's broken picture frames, my father's empty bookshelves, the soaked mattress I lost my virginity on. And the house? I promise you it won't be pretty. It will be wobbly and weary and decrepit, but it will be mine, all mine. And for that reason alone, it will be enough. Thank you. So the very last poem. Let's see. Oh, okay. So the very last poem is called Shakespeare's in the Ghetto. And it's from the perspective of a character who's much braver than I could ever imagine to be. And it's all about the fact that, as a minority, you're told that you cannot aspire to great things, but at the same time insisting that you have an inherent greatness in you. And if you look at the actual book, it's written in a way that mimics a Nigerian accent, which I only use with my mom or my sister when I'm speaking. I don't even know how to get back into it performatively. It just happens naturally. But I try my best to do it. So it's called Shakespeare's in the Ghetto. Sir, what you have heard is true. We appreciate power. We appreciate the unclaimed seats at the table marked with our names. We appreciate the magnificent ruin of your empire crumbling into dust under our thumb. All this time, did you not know? We were born for this warfare, for this crusade of restitution. We remember everything. The muted violence of your civility, how you quietly dropped the words uncultured and savage during supper, like napalm over Cambodia. Vision like Brother Ray, we did not see us coming. Believe me, we have perfected this art of pretense. Every colored boy is Othello till the mask comes off. Kendrick won the Pulitzer and we were turned up. Reverberations ran through the dream streets of Lagos and Santo Domingo and Queens. We came to do this royalty thing. Did you not run out of crowns? Or did you run out of crowns? Don't worry, we bought ours. Are we too alternative for you? Too unruly? Too order? Does my left field so bother you, sir? We are the children of the bad civilization, ghetto boys and church rats and unwanted filth. the rejected stone turning boulder, wrecking shit, keeping your crumbling castles. Don't worry, we'll build the ghettos, writing sonnets, writing ourselves into history. Thank you.
Let me just scoot. Am I next? Okay, I'm ready. Yeah. Hi everybody. It's me. I'm next. I'm Jennifer Militello. It's really wonderful to be here. Thank you all for being here today in the beautiful Grolier. Thank you to James, and thank you to my fellow poets who I'm really excited to read with. It's also wonderful to be reading on the first day of National Poetry Month, which also happens to fall on April Fool's Day, which is maybe appropriate. So I'm going to read tonight from this brand new book, Identifying the Pathogen. It has a few different things happening in it. So there is a narrative that deals with a series of lab notebooks. There are some prose pieces that deal with the breaking of a string instrument and a rock climbing expedition. But tonight I'm going to read a portion of the book that deals with Anna Morandi Manzolini, who was an 18th century Italian anatomist and artist. And in partnership with her husband, she created these wax sculptures. You can see one on the cover of the book, and taught anatomy to students, dissected bodies and investigated the body and did these studies and taught as well. And they had this incredible equal partnership where they did this together. And then he experienced some depression, became severely depressed, then became physically ill. So declined for a period of time, and she supported him throughout this time. And then when he died, she found that not only had she been sort of oppressed by this decline that he had experienced, but also that she could no longer support herself because she could not be properly compensated as a woman for the work that she was doing. And eventually she had to give up one of her sons for adoption as a result of this. So I'm going to start with this, one of these pieces that starts these sections and details her work and the work that she does. There are some quotes from her journal, and then I will read pieces that detail some of these wax portraits in relation to the marriage, including a couple that she created, one of herself and one of her husband. And you can Google these. They are really interesting, a little bit creepy, definitively strange. So, and I'm not going to say a lot between these because they sort of flow together. Anna sculpts a collection of organs using the wax of bees boiled and mixed with tallow, pitch softened with turpentine. Its color determined by the age of the honeycomb and the flowers of the region. Among them is a wax self-portrait. She is dressed in taffeta trimmed with lace and wears pearls at her neck and wrist. She gazes straight ahead as she is cutting into the brain of a man. Anna sculpts a portrait of her husband. He is looking down into the side. His skin is jaundiced. There is visible stubble on his face. His hands hover over a dissected human heart. Whatever object presents itself to the hand for examination of its tangible qualities, nature immediately permits the hand of all the anatomical parts the most capable and sincere judge to evaluate it. And those are her words. Wax self-portrait. Dear surrogate, dear estate, dear country, dear tether, promise me forever, promise me an afterlife sewn of pinned cloth. Small spell I incite from incisions, germinate from pollution, habit burning, pomp circumstancing, water smoothing, division of cells. Small spell bathed in a petri dish, bitterness I say and mean, invention I sear into the brain, oh blue thing. Your groomed God sweetens here, like a small sorrow, small move, small spell that certifies death, my skeleton whitens in your cage. Small unopened almanac, electric eel message sent by pigeon, stitches undone. Something opened like a door, down like a staircase, up like a sun. Small spell I bind from hair and skin, small dot as on a map, small bat wing, small toad leg, small mixture of fixtures and listening in fits, small charting of facts, small asking, small thought. I walk its plank. I bank like a ship soon to wreck. I navigate flocks that feed. I invent sweetnesses of me. I golden like a fleece, simper in black. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but let your shape be a kudzu that overgrows all else. Wax portrait of a husband. His hands are thrifty machines functioning with efficiency and cleanliness and without alarm. He will watch someone die and not be disturbed. When he looks at you, his face remains still. He asks you questions that plink like the notes on a player piano pre-planned script. He will not deviate. He will not move. His trim jacket is a kind of skin that says no organs, no heart inside. He cannot smile with his eyes instead of his mouth. His brain is a series of wires and sparks. He will pivot on his crisp heel and stride away. His hands wash one another. His hands shake your own. His hands palpitate your neck. He is mostly correct. His hands are damp. There is a policy. There is a protocol. There is a sigh ascending away inside of a prison, outside of a stone. His voice is a planet with no atmosphere at all. Wax portrait of a marriage. A. Why tack up a horse that won't run? The reins hang loose, the saddle rubs, alien as a milkweed pod ready to burst and carry dark seeds. It has a head to toss, it has a field to graze, it has burrs in its mane, its tail drips with mud. It has a muddy eye wide, with a pupil sideways like a slice. Why tack up a horse that will not kick? As I stand in the triangle of blindness just in front, hoping it won't bite. I click my tongue. Its bones sag. Its belly is a belly swelling to a stone. Its hooves are shoeless, its nostrils flare, its ears flick flies away. A horse like that cannot be groomed. I mount. I grip it with my knees, I tap it with my heels, urge it on. The sun sets on its lack of movement. A horse like that is too far gone. B. My marriage builds a ship into a bottle bit by bit and pinches tobacco from cigarettes and mimics a corridor foul with perfume. Its haunt like hemlock in the gut. In the night I can hear it hum as the pump turns on and the water draws up. It floats in me like a misplaced tooth, curls in my chest like a comb. C. I chose my love like a peach already eaten, only now plucked from the branch. I chose my love like insect-filled amber, born of a bleed of sap. I chose my love and ran through the backyard in only a twice-torn skirt. What to do when the cat of a spark licks at the curtain's tail like drape? What to do when the house goes up in flames, creased with its own heat, gauzed with its own weight, and we watch, our mouths agape. We thought this household was forever. Its great collapse now proves its fake. What to do with the structure of an attic and the grease of a lock? With the camouflage of a like-minded flock, we crouch in the bush and stay flush with the ground. It was a fugue that found me, statue, elegy. It was a fiend or fold in a damaged book. Pages were torn out, sounds rained down, people aged before my eyes, mummified women woke. What ash gathers? What mind over matter? What children tracking it muddy with their feet? It is winter. It is warm. We leave our prints on the panes among the frost. The twists inside us freeze on sight. The pansies fueled inside us swarm. Just two more. The 10 Commandments of the Anatomist's Wife. Thou shalt not let the tissue sample go toxic. Thou shalt not let the scalpel scrape. Honor the theater of the operation, the breeding of deathbeds in its depths. Thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's eye or tibia or the godless handle that is his heart. Thou shalt not let injury fingerprint the herd. Halt thy vast intelligences in the ways they reach. Halt the origins, their burnt and wild hymns. Remember the solemn jug's insomnia tips. The body is a god, worship no other. Thou shalt not take the body's name in vain. And finally, I don't know if you guys know anything about the anglerfish. So the anglerfish is one of those deep down fish, and it's that one we think of when we think of deep down fish. It's got that really big mouth with those big teeth, and it's got that kind of lantern that hangs to kind of lure in prey. But the really weird thing about anglerfish that they discovered, kind of like after they'd been studying them, they started to realize that anglerfish had these like weird extra fins or appendages, and they weren't sure what they were. And they were like, why are these fish growing these? They were kind of irregular, they were strange. And as they started to study more and more and kind of dissect, they realized that these were actually the male anglerfish. And because it is so rare, perfect timing, it is the male. Because it is so rare for these, kind of two fish to meet in this weird depth where there's nothing, when a male would find a female, it was advantageous to mating to sort of latch on and become actually physically part of her body and stay with her. And in doing so, to give up everything, vision, just sort of latching on with the mouth, feeding off her blood. Really weird. But you will hear that situation in this poem. This is a wax portrait of a husband as male anglerfish. There is an epigraph from William Beebe who discovered some of this, and it says, to willfully eat a hole in her soft side, to feel the gradually increasing transfusion of her blood through one's veins, to lose everything that marked one as other than a worm. And this poem happens in kind of twin columns to kind of symbolize the two of them, and you will hear that, I hope, in the breaks. Your mouth grown over at your grave like a moss, your structures taken in, your blood and vessels thinned until you are a knob mistaken for a fin, until you have no ears or mind. I think for us. I am the only one with desire. I forget a time when you were other. I pilot the vessel lost, oh parasite. O martyr, O might, you fix at my bloodstream to feed as I feed and redeem yourself in this airless dark where you as I consume figments blind or twice our size. As you do not swim and yield your eyes, I see for us, I eat for us. I swim gills toward a bulb-lit depth as you speed forward at the smell of me and the fuse of my fossil flesh. I am a vast jaw that lives to let you hinge a midnight zone with your withered fins, or make your size a tiny fist or shell or tooth, as we work to craft future fish who will disappear through the murk, hovering a lure, glow we rarely meet in the abyss. Thank you.
Those are hard acts to follow. So I'm going to read from my latest book, Do Words Dream Themselves? And to Silence Told in Riddles. First, an excerpt from one of the long pieces. Proverbs for surviving insanity cross-dressed as sanity. 1. Sanity and normal. Sanity and normal are illusions, but we can't tell anyone. 2. Reality. They keep arguing about the simulation of things. If this is real, what would happen if it was discovered that it wasn't? It's simple and it's complicated. We keep playing Sims and wear an Oculus while entering Meta to figure it out. 3. The reanimation of your childhood. When you see your childhood reanimated, cartoons, now movies, now a whole ass revival, remember that you barely made it out that first time. Slow cars. Slow cars, the ones that are not looking for a destination or a target, but the ones who are roaming. Listen to the way the tire consumes the dirt, the gravel. Notice the way the full-term pregnancy of the stop and how the engine stays on. A long, healthy, low hum. All out of sight. And if all is true, ask, how long will it take for it, the sound of waiting, to go away? 1:15. If you find yourself on any road, find the roots of the trees. Stay along the margin of the tree roots and run. Don't stop, because stopping means you will be discovered. 1:03. When you meet leopard cubs of varying ages, it's your moral duty to take them with you. No, this is not 1938's Bringing Up Baby. No, Cary Grant, no, Katharine Hepburn. This will happen before you know that such a thing exists. So when you meet these leopards, take them to a hotel room. Their jaws will open with no sound. You will teach them that they can roar. They can make sound. For these are feral things. And then I'll read you How to Be an Amish Country. It starts with looking for an Amish quilt, a belated housewarming gift during graduation. Journey away from the signs that promise Amish experience. Keep driving and worry about going in the wrong direction because the strip mall. It goes and goes, and watch the subtle change of the landscape. A lush green field not left alone, attended to by a body using tools of the old country. Forget that you were worried. Forget that you didn't realize that you were no longer seeing restaurants, stores. Something is different. A woman tends to her garden, the thick black fabric of her skirt daring to kiss the ground. She moves like it's not 95 degrees with high humidity outside. The stops here are inevitable because an Amish quilt, it's one of a kind. Small, folksy signs guide the stops and starts. The one house with the 2 women and 3 children. One tends the laundry and another waves one of you over while the other takes you and your friend into the modest garage with all the quilts. Because options must be weighed, the drive continues. The heads of men, sometimes covered in straw hats, sometimes covered by round brims of black felt flat tops, met with thick whiskers, suspended chests held by black straps and white cotton. It's the last house where the Dutch is thick, where what they have is the more than quilts. It's the home surrounded by the summer heat that is thickened with the powwow, and the car that brought you here is the only thing that announces the year. It's sometime in the 2020s. Let your friend be the one to carefully look at the quilts. You will look at the other wares. Notice the tools that were being used to garden. Analog. Of this, a homestead is made. The furniture and heavy wood join in to speak of the way it's been here longer than the car parked outside, longer than all of the lives contained within it were ever a mistake or life-planned thoughts. The wood floor's absence of creaking chime in. They put you in your place to remind you that they were here longer than your birth, your mama's birth, your mama's mama's birth. They give permission to the walls and handmade everything to shut up about hunger. They whisper, none of it feeds you like this. If the fridge dared to hum, it was low. No buzz of modernity causing ears to ring. But don't just take the quilt. Take the pieces of the dialect you don't understand with the questions. How does that hold against the not so far out there? Your body will long to feel the weight of that fabric hanging off your body with a bonnet in the 95-degree high humidity weather. The tongue wonders if it too can bend to the dialect, not past and past and past. A hand vibrates under a steering wheel that vibrates from the tires meeting the ground that stretches towards the nearest strip mall. A finger twitches, wishing it snapped the old man leaning against his garage, pipe in hand, an unapologetic stare steadied under the round felt flat hat. His body framed by white barn doors with a wagon just beyond. And the things only caught by the shutter that has no button or ready replay. It's here at this stoplight just ahead. You replay the way a shadow dodged the sunlight lighting the kitchen floor in the last house. In the last house, a pair of feet from outside stayed in place. What were you staring at? Why were you so still? Edges of a black felt flat brim, no whiskers yet, but black suspenders against the white cotton, holding adolescent curiosity caught within the eye of the outside world. And yet, no hairs announced that you were being watched. Is this what calm does? It was here in the valley of the growing strip mall, a sadness that a certain truth is remembered. Some images were never meant to be captured. And the trespass places with Ephrata cluster, and the wooden blocks they used in place of pillows, and the saliva that grows on my tongue. Could I? Could I? Thank you.
Thank you to Shanta, KÁNYIN, and Jennifer for the wonderful reading this evening. Let's give them another round of applause. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you Thanks to everyone on Zoom. We have some books for sale. Poets will be signing books. If everyone could please put your chairs up against one of the walls, I'd be very grateful. Thank you very much.
Yeah.